Hey, so I'm Lauren Greb, and this is my GRI 201 personal slash historical reflection video final project. Whatever. I'm not really sure what the exact name of the assignment is. So yeah, we're going with what I just said. Anyway, I am going to talk about my gender and sexuality and like how I've experienced that because one, I am not really sure what to talk about, and two, because we mostly just talked about race in this class and I feel like we ignored a lot of other identities because of that. So, yeah. So, I am a non binary individual, and that means that depending on how I feel, I guess, don't don't identify really as a male or female, or I feel more masculine or more feminine depending, and I'm not really comfortable with male or female labels. And I feel like a lot of that for me personally comes from the fact that gender is a social construct, which it's like race is also a social construct, and so gender and race are also very real things that impact people's lives and are an important part of people's identities and such. But like basically everything in life is a social construct because we live in a society. So like I don't really have an issue with gender being fake or race being fake. I'm just choosing personally to sort of acknowledge that, I guess. And also because I'm extremely depressed and anxious and my brain doesn't like coping with things, um, I have I dissociate a lot of the time, which is like I feel like my brain feels like it's separate from my body. And so I feel like that also has played into my gender identity. What the hell? Sorry, my cat has decided to run around and be crazy. So, yeah. But, like, and that's something that we didn't really talk about that much in class, but I feel is very important is intersections between identities and like different factors within people, which for me includes my mental illness and my gender, like in a big way, because it's like if you don't feel connected to your body, and your body is typically what in society determines your gender through your sex, like how the fuck you can have a gender if you don't feel like you're connected to a body? It's very difficult. I will say that usually I feel feminine just because of how society has treated me because of my body and because of like the way that I look and sound and like the clothes that fit me, so the way I present myself. Um, but yeah, like I don't, it's very, it's not very upsetting, but it's mildly upsetting when people call me a woman or like she or her, like, or referring to me like that. And it's like, especially if I've told them that I'm non binary and that I prefer they them pronouns. Like my best friend will still refer to me as she and her, and it's a very upsetting thing in that case. But yeah, so I've mostly talked about my gender, but as far as sexuality goes, I call myself bisexual because I don't really prefer men or women, but I also experience attraction to men and women differently. Like, I don't know, it's really difficult to explain, but I'll do my best. Like, I feel like women I'm attracted to in a more masculine way, and men I'm attracted to in a more feminine way. So like my gender plays into my sexuality. So it's like if I'm attracted to a man or I'm in a relationship with a guy, I tend to be in a more female role and like feel more female. But yeah, so that's how those intersect. I'm right at 5 minutes now. And so now that I'm over 5 minutes and we're not, well, I might get cut off for class. I'm also going to talk about my more radical things, which they're not really that radical, but my more outlandish theories that might offend some people, which is that I don't think straight people or gay people exist. I feel like everyone has potential to, on some level, be attracted to the same or a different sex or gender. And like, especially on like if you just recently I read an article, for example, that was interviewing a bunch of British male college students, most of whom had a male friend who they would just like cuddle with and make out with, and they're like, yeah, it's a bromance, it's just casual, like, but we're heterosexual, we're not gay or anything. And it's like, you might not be gay, but you certainly, that's not, making out with a guy and cuddling with a guy is not heterosexual behavior, sir. It's just not. If you're a man, it's not. If you're a woman, then it's very heterosexual behavior. But, like, it's just, it seems like mostly people are just afraid of being called queer or being called gay and being perceived that way. And also with bi and pan erasure, which it's just like bi people and pan people don't exist. There's only gay and straight, which is dumb. But that's how a lot of people think and feel, it seems. And like, they just see the only options as straight and gay, and so they just ignore that there's a whole spectrum of things. But it doesn't make sense at all that there would be completely straight or completely gay people. Like, given the whole range of attraction, like sexual attraction or emotional attraction or romantic attraction even, then it's like you can love in different ways. And I feel like a lot of men who are considered heterosexual are not necessarily heteroromantic or have hetero-emotional like connections. Like when we looked at the whole gender unicorn thing, which, side note, it should not be called a gender unicorn because unicorns are fucking dumb. But anyway, when we looked at the whole gender unicorn thing, like, there's a whole range that goes into your sexuality and your gender. And so, like, it makes sense that even if you only want to have sex with women, if you're a cis man, that you might be way more comfortable being emotional with men, or you might like have deep feelings that you don't necessarily want to like fuck a guy, but you might want to like spend all your other time with him. And it's like, I don't buy into relationships being just sexual. And I feel like if your relationship is based primarily on sex, then it's probably a really unhealthy and unfulfilling relationship. Like, so, yeah. So I don't think that there are straight or gay people. I think everybody is somewhere on like a bi or pansexual spectrum. I also don't think that there are any truly cis people, because it's impossible to meet all of the standards of gender that we have in our society. And it's really unhealthy. Like, if someone was meeting all of the masculine gender standards, they would probably be in prison because they'd be very violent and really unlikable. And if someone was meeting all of the feminine standards, they would, I mean, honestly, they probably fucking killed themselves, because it's impossible to meet all of the feminine standards for beauty and like not speaking your mind enough, and with sexuality and everything. It's terrible. But yeah, so I've gone completely over. I'm twice as long as this video should be, but I'm pretty satisfied with it, and I followed my heart, which is what Jody told me to do, so yeah. So thank you for a good semester, GRI 201, and catch you on the flip side. Hey, that was really dumb. I'm gonna edit that out. Yeah, probably won't edit it out, but bye.